Saying goodbye to your loved ones is never easy. Being a military parent is difficult because we do sign on the line that first and foremost that we will support and defend the Constitution of the United States, and that means going to any foreign country when we're asked to. And it doesn't mean we always get to say bye to our kids. A lot of times they're asleep at night when we leave.
Every day would I wish that I could be home instead of being where I'm at or doing what I'm doing. And here's the reason why. I always worry about my friends. I always worry about my family. They're really something integrated into me. They're a major part of my life. My friends are my family. That's how I see it. My friends are my family. So I worry about them all the time. All the time.
There were many times I wished I could have left and been home with my family. Of course, initial boot camps are always difficult. That's the big change. But later in combat environments and dangerous environments, when being shot at or rocketed by the Taliban, you certainly wish you were anywhere but there.
My name is Cody Allen Bandy. I am a specialist in the United States Army. I enlisted when I was 18.
My name is Nelson Smither. I enlisted in 1985 in the Army and then in 1989 in the Navy. Went in as an E1 and left as an E6.
My name's Doug Berry. I'm a colonel in the U.S. Army. I was 18 years old when I enlisted. I enlisted in the Navy on July 8th, 1977. And after a tour in the Navy, I decided that I enjoyed the military but wanted to try something slightly different, so I enlisted in the Army. And I did that in 1983.
When I first enlisted, it was pretty supported by everyone. It was probably a little surprised, but yeah, it was. I really didn't have any education, and out of high school, didn't have a plan for college. Didn't have the grades for college, so it was a chance to do something other than get in trouble. So it was pretty much supported by everyone.
My mom was initially against it. She did not want me to join the Army. I'm her only son. She did not want that to happen, but she came to terms with it. She blamed me. She did not like it. Felt as if I left her alone. It happens.
My parents were great parents. They, in a loving manner, said that they didn't think that was the best decision that I had made. Though they would support whatever I wanted to do, and they would support me because they loved me. But they told me to think hard and firm about this before I left my eligibility, if you will, and that meant a paid scholarship to college, and walked away from that and then went into the military.
My first time being away from home for an extended period, that was a tough one. Mainly because I had always been around this area and I had never been out on my own. I never lived on my own. I joined right after I turned 18. Right after I graduated, I was in the Army. But I was in basic training, and they just said, hey, you're on your own. And I'm in this situation. No one can help me but myself. It was really hard because I did not know what I wanted to do, how I could do it. And they just said, hey, this is you. It's on your shoulders. You're your own man now.
Being away from home was, it was weird at first because I had, being from the country, from the sticks of Virginia, I had never been anywhere or done anything other than Myrtle Beach or something. So it was different. It was definitely an adjustment to travel and to be mixed with people of different cultures and different demographic backgrounds. It was it was definitely a change. It was definitely an adjustment.
My first time away was to basic training, and it was 13 weeks away from home. And I think honestly I stayed so busy that there wasn't really a feeling of homesick. Didn't have time to be homesick. In your spare time you slept. To some degree I felt that separation and homesickness, but it really wasn't until my first duty station, where I was on a ship and had duty on Christmas Eve one night, that I really felt like, oh gosh, this is a place I've never been before. And it was unfamiliar surroundings, and here I was not with family. And that's what Christmas in our household had been.
Probably the worst homesickness is initial, you know, when you go to boot camp and you leave and, you know, your first time being away. There's so much change involved, but the life of a military is to do that, is continuous separations, and so you get used to it over time.
One time I was walking down to chow, and I realized I could die right then. That opened my eyes horribly. It was just, I wanted to be home. I didn't want to be there. I didn't want to die. I didn't want to, but what could you do?
When I was in Iraq, I worked a type of operation where I lived with the Iraqis, I ate with the Iraqis. They didn't speak English, I didn't speak Arabic. So I relied a lot on hand gestures and oddly enough, a Google converter, a translator that I carried in my pocket. It wasn't a cell phone, but a translator. And you know, when you can't communicate, you can't express emotions, and you're with those that you may not be able to trust fully, you know, there are better places that come to mind because the emotions of fear and homesickness and other things are running through your mind, and you have to stay focused at what you're doing. But I think during those times initially, until I became trusted to them and they became trusted to me, that within my first few weeks of living out in a blown up shelter, or as an old blown up building in Iraq and Baghdad, that if I could have clicked my heels and been anywhere but there, I would have done that.
What helped me cope with being away from home? Letters. I got letters from my friends, my family. Not only that though, I really just focused towards physical conditioning.
I found that there are several things that help really a lot of deployed soldiers or deployed service members cope with the separation of family. I spend a lot of spare time in church, in Bible study, and I found that was a great way to spend my time to focus on what's really important in life.
In those days, we didn't have the internet, so it's all about, and really now still, at least for boot camps and stuff like that, it's really about letter writing. You know, if you'd never written a letter before, when you become a soldier, a sailor, a Marine, you learn to write letters, and you learn to be really looking forward to mail call when mail is coming. So it's all about writing letters and correspondence.
You know, I think it's a mad rush of emotions. When I returned this most recent deployment, I was met at Lynchburg Airport after having been up for about 3 days, a little over 3 days with no sleep. And I was wearing a uniform that hadn't been cleaned in about 2 weeks, and I was just not really in any position for a welcoming party. And my wife had put together a homecoming at the airport, and WSET TV was there. And it's overwhelming. It's really, you get that attitude of you're not sure what to say, almost stage fright. Just the words don't flow. The emotions are there, but they're competing to get out in the right order. So when I first saw my wife, of course, I was excited, and she's the most important thing to me. So knowing that this was my last deployment, it was all that more special to be able to see her and embrace her knowing that I wouldn't be leaving home again.